Thank you for joining the last day of Desalytics Water Week. Today we have a packed agenda. It's more about the industrial water treatment. We'll start first by a panel discussions on water positive. I'm going to introduce Alejandro. Thank you, Alejandro Sturniolo, for joining us. Alejandro is Vice President of Marketing and Sustainability at H2O Innovation and also a director at the International Desalination Association. Alejandro, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Wally. Good morning to those in the Americas and good afternoon to those in the continent to the east. Today, we have 6 incredible panelists who will cover different aspects of water positivity. The name of the panel is Water Positive, Leave No One Behind. We will explore the relationship with industry and society instead of water. And we will see that industry and society, they not compete for water in a regenerative economy. We will start today with Bernie Ancher from Veolia. He will share a global market perspective from water positivity. Given his role in one of the biggest companies in the world, Bernie, we want to know if Veolia is including this initiative in their business strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Going back to your question, you talked about Veolia's perspective on the subject. We had our CEO Estelle actually speak very publicly in multiple occasions, most recently this past week, around both the responsibility that we as a company feel towards water sustainability in general and water positivity in particular. For my own role, responsible for the utilization of digital technologies to pursue this objective, it's definitely front and center for us to help the world and industry in particular utilize water in more efficient ways so we can achieve sustainability and positivity. But yes, by all means, without a shadow of a doubt, center to a strategy.
Yes, I had the possibility to talk to your CEO in United Nations meeting in March in New York. Yeah. And it is incredible how Veolia is committed with sustainability and water positivity. What is the next step, or which is the next step for Veolia in water positivity?
Yeah, so I'm probably not the best qualified to give you the overall perspective for all of Veolia, but I'm definitely qualified to tell you how Veolia is approaching leveraging digital technologies in pursuit of water positivity. And if I were to summarize that, I think I would summarize the strategy in terms of we got to call it a T, R, and N type of strategy, where T refers to the value of digital technologies in bringing transparency to the utilization of water. Yeah. It's no different when it comes to looking at driving efficiency and net positivity in water. What we do here is no different than what we do in a financial system where it starts by an ability of understanding where you're at, and then as a second stage, we talk about R, or resiliency, which is utilizing technologies to be able to understand the resiliency of our operations. We have this interaction between the planet on one side and our own actions on the other, and really understanding where the risks come from both of those, and then how actually that drives how we behave is another element where digital plays a big role. And then finally, you combine both of those with the N element of our strategy, which has to do with what we call net positive, which are the places in which we can leverage both digital technologies by themselves, but also digital technologies and the complete portfolio of the company to have a net positive impact. So all of those really get stitched together by access to information, by availability to information, by flow of information between them. So that makes sense?
Yes, for sure, a lot. Actually, during my week in New York, Veolia did one of the best presentations. As sometimes we have more politics decisions than plans, and I think what Veolia did it was in the New York Times It was an amazing presentation. For that reason, congratulations, because promotion and education is part of our responsibility as a leaders. And that was the reason that we wanted to start the panel with you, and just congratulate, just to give the congratulations for the rest of the team in Veolia. Thank you, Bernie. We will come back to you with some question. Malki, good morning.
Good morning.
Mo is the CEO of AWC, and he will comment on how water purification could achieve better competitiveness through this initiative and how it could impact in our market. Mo, you are part of the leader of a service market in our service products in our market, and we love to hear from you what you are seeing in the next step of our market related to products and initiative.
There's a lot happening already, at least here in the US. Water reuse has become very big using membrane technology. There's a lot of groundwater replenishment projects all over California. Now Florida is starting to follow. There's a lot of permitting being done for future projects. That's on the larger scale ground water replenishment side, aquifer recharge. Then you also have a lot happening on the industrial side. So many of the known brands, food product manufacturers, equipment manufacturers, automotive manufacturers are trying to recycle their process water to be able to avoid sending water to the sewer or getting new city water. So there's a lot of use of membranes right now towards a sustainable water consumption. You also have even people who are using water, and even if they're not recycling, they're all trying to go to higher recoveries so that there's less water wasted when you use membrane systems. You get more purified water, less of it goes to drain. So there's a lot of efforts already being made to conserve water and to reuse waste towards the water positive initiative, even if people didn't assign it the water positive label. But of course, going forward, the whole process of this initiative is to try to encourage more people to be involved in reusing water, in promoting groundwater aquifer recharge and so forth. I would think one of the main issues that we've talked about is if one example we discussed recently was if somebody sells a lot of orange juice and they're using a lot of water for agriculture in that region and they're exporting the orange juice to another country, how does the water positive initiative want you to offset that? And really the answer is to go back and invest in a membrane system to desalinate water in that region where the oranges are grown, because that water was used to grow oranges, but they're being exported to another country. And so there's so many applications where desalination can be beneficial for this. It's really, the possibilities are endless.
And let me ask you a question. In which way your product could save water?
As a company that makes scale inhibitors for reverse osmosis, the focus is to go to the highest recovery possible. And with RO, the higher the recovery, the more water that you're purifying. So if we're able to take a plant, anything built over 15 years ago is probably running at only 75% of recovery. So 25% of that water that's incoming to the RO is going to waste. And if you can push it up to 95% recovery, now suddenly you're saving so much water. You're only wasting 5%. And so that's really been the general trend. And with my company, we've been doing intensive R&D to be able to handle the type of scaling and fouling that forms at these high recoveries. So it all goes hand in hand, the chemical, the equipment, the operations.
This is very important. Remember what Mo said when we will talk to Antonella. Then Mo, you could save 15% at least in an RO process, for example, in reuse.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
For industrial reuse, most projects are in the 90 to 95% recovery range. So only about 10% of the water, 5 to 10% of the water being wasted. On the municipal wastewater, the groundwater recharge, the majority of the plants are being built at 85% recovery. And the limitation there, a lot of it is the biological and organic fouling that starts to happen at the higher recovery because of the type of water you're dealing with. But of course, as we move forward and as there's more advanced technologies, better pretreatment ahead of the RO, we should be able to go higher and higher. And there's a lot of projects even going to zero liquid discharge in some cases with, say, something like brine mining, where you're extracting a mineral, but also able to recover that water for other uses, right? By the way, there's a question here, Liliana Munoz, isn't ZLD going to consume a lot of power, energy? So of course it is. The issue is, if you're going to mine a mineral like lithium, that you also have to look at the energy used to extract it versus the carbon footprint you're going to save by using a lithium-ion battery. Those are really big picture questions. ZLD itself, the evaporation process, the higher the recovery, the RO feeding the crystallizer, the smaller the crystallizer has to be, or the evaporator, whichever way. So really, if you design the system well and the membrane part can be maximized, then you could really reduce your power consumption substantially.
Yes, talking about energy, the industry in the bottled water, the industry is spending 35 kilowatts per cubic meter. Then, if the industry of bottled water is using 35 kilowatts per cubic meter, I think we have enough space for zero liquid discharge in the future with this initiative. Okay, thank you, Mo. We will come back to you. Good morning. Hello, Alejandro Roman from NX Filtration. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ale, and thank you, Walid, for organizing this panel.
Yes. Ale, we would like to hear from you your thoughts about what you think about this new market related with your product. Specifically, you will define your membrane, if it is a nanofiltration, if it is a ultrafiltration, I think we are talking about. And we love to hear from you, what do you think about the process if you compare with conventional systems? And we want to know more about their initiative and emerging contaminants as PFAS removal, for example.
First of all, I would like to start answering your question, reflecting on the drivers for this water positive initiative, this idea of water replenishment. So what we are trying to do here is that we need to find ways to generate more fresh water and making it available, more fresh water than we are consuming. This is a way to make this resource sustainable and making sure that it is available for our current generation, but also for the future. And another very relevant aspect of the water positivity, in my opinion, is that we should not only focus on generating the volume, that is also very important, but also on the local relevance or the impact of these initiatives. So how this initiative can have a positive impact on areas that are under a lot of stress, but also of the financial means to making this happen. So I like to say this because this is linking to the way that we have developed our products, having this in mind, but it's even linked to the systems of our company, of the foundation of the company. So we are relatively young company. So we started in 2016 with a mission to make clean and affordable water for all. So what we have done, as you just mentioned, is that we have developed a range of hollow fiber nanofiltration products that was developed with three main areas of focus that kind of really link into this water positive initiative. One is to be able to address the impact of these organic micropollutants. That was also part of your question, your PFAS, the medicines, and everything that is impacting the quality of the water. And that is one of the things that we need to ensure, that the water is safe. Developing a technology that is totally focusing on that, and is the most efficient way to address with those micropollutants and not impacting on other compounds that could give you other side effects, having to deal with concentrate if you use other membrane technologies like the reverse osmosis. I was also referring to looking for ways to make these processes more energy efficient.
This is a very strong business driver, because one of the stronger players in the market of the water positive market is Microsoft. And I don't know if you had the opportunity to read something about them. Actually, we could share the summary with the audience later on. What Microsoft said is that quality is very important. It is not quantity. Then retrofitting a plant, for example, within a city with PFAS contamination, could be, actually, it is very important in our water positive initiative for Microsoft. For that reason, I think your product fits perfectly with that business driver, at least for Microsoft, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, PepsiCo, and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, certainly. I had the opportunity to read their report on how they see this water positive initiative, which is a really interesting paper to read, and I recommend to all the audience to probably Wally can help in making that information available. There are so many things in there that I think is linking to part of your question. This idea of the impact, and I was quite surprised of the number of initiatives that they are putting in place to make new sources of water available in other areas of the world. For example, one example that I wanted to bring is some of the work that we have been doing in Indonesia, in which our membranes have been used to make more affordable the treatment of surface water. So these rivers in remote locations that had a big presence of turbidity, of color, etc. And by this new technology, what we make is that this project more affordable, and also the whole logistics of having more complicated treatment processes that require a lot of coagulant chemicals, etc., making that project feasible. This particular project had the financing from the World Bank, but what we face day to day is that areas of the world that has the need, that the technology is available, but the whole financing for making this possible.
When I was reading the Microsoft water positive strategy, I don't know, from the 36 pages, I saw your company at least 10 times. For that reason, I don't know if someone in Microsoft is investing in your company, but your product has a beautiful future with the initiative, Alejandro. Congratulations for your strategy applied in that initiative.
Thank you, Ale. And then the last part regarding PFAS. We believe we have a very powerful tool to be used as part of the overall solution due to the high removal rates. But I think one thing that I like about the water positive initiative is the whole thing about continuous innovation, but also about collaboration. Yes. And that is something that we are doing. So we cannot find solution on our own. And we are taking initiative to team up with other technologies, like technologies that are doing advanced oxidation, for example, but also linking ourselves with companies that are leading these global solutions. So we are part of this Life Pristine project together with SACYR. Now we have recently announced cooperation with companies like Nighthawk Source, Aqualia, doing some piloting with Veolia. We are doing some R&D with Pepsi. So I think that is something that actually this panel is all about that. So we have representatives of different companies and technologies, and this is an open door to let's continue, let's collaborate, and
Thank you, Ale. We will come back with some question. Good morning, Mr. Domingo Zarzo. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Alejandro and Wally. Thank you for inviting me.
Good afternoon for you. I am in New York now.
Exactly. We are 500 meters neighbors, but today we are separated exactly by 6,114 kilometers. I counted it.
Okay, Domingo. I am a very good friend of you, but I will ask you a tough question. You have the responsibility, being one of the most knowledgeable people about global market.
It's my friend. Yeah.
We would like to know your opinion about the initiative.
My opinion.
Yes.
Okay. I think that if this initiative did not exist, it should be created, as we have done. Okay, now, jokes apart, the next logical step after the measure and reduction objectives of CO2 was to do the same with water footprint. I think more than 800 million people still remain without a safe source of drinking water. And on the other hand, there are industries and companies using water inefficiently or not very efficiently. Then we should promote, first of all, water saving. This is the first. Reuse and recycling, of course, but also the efficient use of water in industry. And for sure, the use of non-conventional water sources such as desalination and reuse for fighting against climate change, the effects of climate change and water scarcity. I think that the Water Positive Initiative pursues these objectives, and as we want to manage it applying sustainability for freshwater production, it fits also very well with the carbon negative concept, and yes. I think they are complementary and enhance each other. No? For those who don't know it, we have created for developing the Water Positive Initiative a think tank for the development of the idea. So far, with approximately 60 recognized professionals from around the world working on different aspects, technical, economic, legal, communication. And we hope that the idea will flourish through next year. And of course, and this is for the audience, we're open for anyone interested to join this initiative and this group, because we need more believers for spreading this great idea. I think this idea can be a revolution for not only for the water sector, but also for the environment.
We know, Domingo, we know that you are going to the COP28.
Yeah.
With exactly. Graciela Chichilinsky. We want to know something about that, because it is incredible that you, water positive, or representing the water positive think tank from our market, next to Graciela Chichilinsky, the woman who invented the protocol of Kyoto and the carbon market. I think it's an amazing opportunity to show what Alejandro Roman said about partnership, because sometimes in our market we are isolated and we only communicate among believers what we already know.
Yeah. No, in fact, it was incredible to meet Graciela during the United Nations conference in March in New York. And from the very first time, she was very excited with the idea of water positive and the possible synergies with the carbon negative idea she's promoting. And we think that is the best opportunity for joining both, because at the end, we are in the same way, trying to develop those ideas. And I think the COP28 could be a good opportunity for presenting it together.
Good luck with this trip, and send us a lot of pictures, and we want to have a summary about every single detail, because it's very important for the industry to be connected. Domingo, taking advantage of your position as professor at the University of Alicante and president of AEDIR, the Spanish Association for Desalination and Reuse, could you explain us in less than 2 minutes water footprint and water footprint trade? Because maybe some people we talk a lot about water footprint, but not that frequently about water footprint trade, and the importance of the ISO 14046 certification, because we know that SACYR did it last year.
Yeah.
3 questions.
Okay, I will try in 2 minutes. Water footprint is simply the volume of fresh water used for producing goods or services. For example, you need 4,500 liters of water for producing one kilo of beef, or 840 for producing 1 kilo of coffee. This term was coined by the late Professor Argen Oextra. He invented it having a shower. But the concept is not so simple as it seems, because you should have considerations about environmental impact of your actions, stress index in the region you are acting, because it's not the same to consume or to produce water in the Atacama Desert than in Switzerland, for example. And then the idea of water positive ends with a virtual water trade between companies being water negative and companies or governments or institutions producing water. Well, they are water positive. Then what we want to do is to replicate in some way what is done with the compensation of carbon credits, although we know that for water is something different because it has a more local component. No?
Yes.
And of course, the first step in determining the positivity of a company is to measure of their water footprint, but any of the recognized certifications, as is the ESO 14046. And for example, as you said, my company SACYR have certified during 2 years the water footprint in all the countries where we are operating, something like 20, in all the activities where we are working, dams, trains, highways, waste, water, energy, etc. Direct and indirect, which means water used for producing energy or for producing materials, which is, imagine the complicated of this calculation. And finally, it has resulted that the whole group has a positive water footprint thanks to our desalination activities. We are producing more water in the whole group that we are consuming. That we could say that we are water positive, although this certification or this concept is in development.
We are creating a lot of momentum for the next panelist. And Domingo, I think we should work more in promotion about water footprint trade, because it is not a concept that it is an environmental impact, no doubt. We talk about the environmental impact in our processes related to 30 square meters, a minimal environmental impact, and nobody talk about the impact that we are doing along the world with the water footprint trade. And the water positive initiative is taking care of that. Actually is the main driver of the framework, taking advantage of the decentralization of our processes. For that reason, is something that we need to promote, because the people doesn't understand too much about water footprint trade. I took some information to share with the audience. Brazil is exporting now in agriculture 8 times the water they need for their people as a water footprint trade. Just to think about water footprint trade. I challenge you, Domingo, in the next Congress in AEDIR to invite someone to talk about this. And thank you, Domingo. Our next panelist is Antonella. Good morning, Antonella.
Good morning.
How are you today? Antonella is from Agro Analytics, and we were waiting for you, Antonella. We were creating a lot of momentum to you to get advantage of that information. Most of the audience in this panel is dedicated to water purification. We spend our life generating new water or saving water through desalination, reuse, wastewater, different technologies. But what we are doing, as I love to explain to my kids, they are here next to me, is that we are replicating the hydrological cycle. Then we love hearing from you, because we know that a lot of our water positivity, because you are working on transactions, how you see our market working with you.
Yes, so first of all, I have to say that we are very aligned what Alejandro and you mentioned about collective and work together. So I see desalination and water regeneration as a strategic partner for us. We know the population will reach 10 billion by 2050, and which means the demand for food will double. And if we looked at the statistics, 70% of fresh water is used in agriculture. And agriculture is one of the major areas suffering from the climate change consequences. So if we look at the numbers again, there are around 30 companies that have expressed their intentions to be water positive, and they have been clear on which specific locations they will focus on. However, from our side, we need to work with integrative and collective solutions that allow us to replenish more cubic meters than those these 30 companies have expressed, to ensure that these basins recover from the water stress they are facing. Going back or single in this context, a synergetic model between traditional and alternative or new water is a must. We need to be able to supply food to our population and at the same time be efficient allocating the resources of water.
Could you describe your business for our market? Because we are not connected with agriculture frequently. And could you explain us what you are doing in your company?
Yeah. So what we do is a solution that is combined satellite information, weather station, agronomic models, and with all this information that we gather, we are able to give recommendations to the farmers and producers in order to increase the production, saving water. So we have measured what are the average the average KPI that we have been building is a saving of 30% water, increasing the production between 7 to 10%, and decreasing energy
from 7 to 10%.
Yeah. So this means that
increasing the production 7 to 10%.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when I was talking to Malki?
Yeah.
They could save 10% like this. Wow.
So it depends.
I won the commission when I introduced Malki. I won the commission.
Yeah, I know. It depends on so many factors. We have cases the production has increased 50%. We have cases the production has increased 3%. So there are so many factors that are giving like some different KPIs, but these are like the metric that we have now.
And with this saving, what you are doing with this saving?
So with this saving, we are monitoring like in real time. At the end of the season, we are able to quantify how many cubic meters the producers have saved. And with this saving, the producers will get benefits from, for example, if some producers are able to save 100,000 cubic meters. On the other hand, corporations can offset those credits in their balance.
What kind of corporation are you talking about?
For example, as you mentioned previously, Microsoft, Google, Coca-Cola, Amazon are the main companies that are doing.
Okay, the same company that we were working in the think tank. We were interacting with 22 companies. They were amazed about what we are doing because it's very similar to what you are doing. If you want to share with us one of your best business you did in the past to try to follow that example in the next of the meetings, because as I said before, we are only communicating or promoting things among believers, and we are full of very smart people, but sometimes we don't trust or we don't believe in the next step or something different that we are doing today. We love the comfort zone in our market. If you could give, yes, we love the comfort zone. Then if you could share with us an example about that transaction, could be amazing for us.
So my favorite project is one that we are working in Madrid in a specific basin called Tajo. And what we are doing is we are working closely with farmers and more than 3,000 hectares of cherry, almond, and walnut tree. Those farmers are applying our technology, focus on water optimization, and we are working with some framework accepted by the United Nations, that is the Water Footprint Network Manual and ISO 14046. After every season, we validate the cubic meters. But this is a project of 7 years ahead. So the whole project is gonna generate a saving of 1 million cubic meters by 2030. So this is a huge project, and we really can see how we are helping as well as producers to jump from traditional irrigation or traditional way to irrigate to new technologies, and we are helping as well to jump in a sustainable agriculture.
Amazing work. Congratulations for your work.
Thank you.
Antonella. Let me ask you, we have 1 minute and a half. Let me ask you one more question. What do you think about, we were talking about water footprint trade. What do you think about our idea, actually it's our main idea for the framework of the water positive through water purification with multiple barriers? What do you think about compensate not only the water footprint, compensate the exportation of water in, for example, in a place like Alicante when we don't have water, instead of compensating the water in a country like, I don't know, maybe Netherlands?
We foresee that our helping, and I am talking about like our side, is first of all to be able to measure quality information, and I would say from farm to fork, as to measure the real flow of export water by products. Secondly, generating some awareness that help governments to take action on their policies and be aware of the real impact that producing in water stress areas and exporting to high water threshold areas have in their basin that we all depend on. And I think in this specific topic, a new water is a very important solution to work together, because we have, for example, we are located in the south of Spain, in Malaga, and we have been seeing from that we started 3 years ago how water is facing a problem year over year in some specific areas. So really think that first of all we have to measure, report, and take action.
Mike, you are the last of our panelists, but one of the most important, because we need to consolidate what we were saying or explaining or sharing with the audience about how important is traceability. And we know we need to connect transparency with the water positive initiative. Could you light us about this?
Yeah, absolutely. To get started, I just wanted to say how fantastic it is today to be among water positive friends. I think this initiative is really important because we absolutely have to move more quickly to be more water efficient across the world, because we're running out of water faster than we can build projects to create the water. So a water positive trading scheme is extremely important globally for us all. Now, thinking about the traceability, my background the last 6 or so years has been in artificial intelligence and software. And I think the software component of traceability is incredibly important and is going to be a key tool for ensuring we can validate the water credits and the trading in a water positive platform. I think to get started, a basic software tool could be extremely useful. And I think any company that is thinking about creating such a tool should think about the ISO water footprint method that Domingo was talking about earlier, and that he's used at SACYR to calculate their footprint and analyze their water positivity. Adhering to that in a software tool will be able to make it very easy for companies around the world to then look through, check the boxes, and ensure that they're calculating their water footprints in the right way and credits for trading. In addition to that, your background's now in artificial intelligence. I think blockchain could be extremely useful here. You hear a lot of people throw these buzzwords around, but this is a key use of ensuring that the credits are validated.
It is a very good point. It is a very good point. Unfortunately, Paula from Acciona couldn't participate in this panel, but I will ask her in our LinkedIn promotion. She has the right answer for that question, and it is related with blockchain use a lot of water. But she has the solution. But I wanted to Paula to share it with the audience. It is a very good idea, Mike.
And some of these digital technologies take a lot of water. If we compare that to something like how much water does beef take to produce, like Domingo was saying, how much water does coffee take to produce? It more than likely pales in comparison. So I think the benefit that we get out of spending that little bit of extra will help us save quite a lot. So Antonella talked about agriculture and how she's using digital and AI to enhance productivity in agriculture. But I think there's huge benefits there in leak detection blinds. I think as an industry, we've done a really poor job over the years and looking at some percent of the leakage. That's such a huge waste of energy and water going back into the ground, and the way in just creating something that's not at all. So these artificial intelligence systems for detecting leaks, similar to what Anthony is talking about, in detecting those leaks, use lights and honing in on where utilities need to fix their pipeline will be extremely useful and really help to create some of those water positive credits as well.
Then we could see you working in the future in wastewater and reuse. Do we have your word?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the other thing that I wanted to mention on the AI side is the work
We have 4 minutes, please.
Yeah, the work we've been doing with Synauta together with Gradient now in saving energy and chemicals in water treatment processes. So in the past, we've talked about saving energy. The equation flips in the other way. If you want to create more water, you can simply use the same amount of energy and ask the artificial intelligence to create water rather than save energy. In terms of energy, seeing an order of 5 to 10% energy savings on some of the larger seawater desalination plants. And in terms of saving chemicals, we've seen as much as 30%, and I've even heard other companies in the industry saving 60% there, particularly in industrial reuse scenarios, because usually they're looking after 3 or 4 processes. Maybe they're a bottling plant, maybe they're in a mining plant. So they're thinking about things upstream of the water treatment process, necessarily thinking about how much chemical they're using. And so it's very easy for them to say, oh, look, there's so much chemical here, thus saving the water that it takes to create those chemicals and being more efficient with their own processes as well. There's a lot that can be done to aid the water positive initiative.
Something that we need to change to communicate the outside of our market to the 8 billion people they don't know about us is instead of reduce the quantity of reduce energy or reducing anti-scalan or something like this, is generating more water. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your participation. Something that I want to share with all of you guys. If you put all the potable water, the access that we have to potable water in the world, we have a sphere of 56 kilometers. It is the same sphere 100 years ago. Now we have 4 times more people than 100 years ago.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, and thank you for all our speakers. It was really great input. I've seen all the comments. It's amazing. I would just want to encourage everybody who was asking questions, if they go on the website, they can connect with anyone. For example, Domingo here. You can send a message, and they will reply to you. So feel free to use the platform. We've got more than 1,200 people already registered that you can interact with from all around the world.
Want to say hi?
Hello. You're saying hi to a couple of 100 people. Nice to see you. Thanks, Alejandro, for
thank you for the call, and thank you for the panelists, and thank you for the opportunity promoting knowledge wallet. Congratulations for your work.
Thank you. Water Week 2024.